workshop. Get ready to experience a fun, interactive, and educational session with a certified nutritionist. In this session, you will discover ways to make healthier choices for you and your family. Be sure to share what you learned during this session with a friend or a family member.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our virtual nutrition workshop for September. My name is Yolanda Galloway, and I am a health and wellness coordinator with the Department of Parks and Recreation, Prince George's County. Before we begin the program on tonight, just want to go over a few housekeeping items. You should see the microphone icon there at the bottom of your screen. You should look for that on your screen. And this is the icon that will help you mute yourself. And we ask that you remain muted throughout the program to eliminate any distractions so that we can focus on what's being presented on tonight. Next, I want to draw your attention to the camera icon, and you will use this to turn your camera off or on. All participants joining us this evening will be able to see your screen if you were to have your camera on. So just to minimize any distractions, remember that that's the icon that can turn your camera off or on. So the last icon I want to tell you about is our chat icon. And we like this icon because this gives you a chance to interact with us in this virtual realm. So you'll see that button there that you see on the screen. And this is what you'll use to type in any comments, any answers to questions that our presenter will have for you on this evening. And then next on the screen popping up right there is the chat box. So you'll type your question in, hit enter, and we'll be able to see what you have shared on the screen. So we look forward to a great discussion on this evening. Looking forward to the information. I want to introduce you to our speaker for the evening, and she can pronounce her last name. I did not formally get the pronunciation of that too. I apologize. So I'm not going to try to mess it up. But we're so glad to have her with us this evening. She is a registered dietitian, licensed dietitian, nutritionist, and a nutritionist with Giant Food. She also brings or comes to us from and being a native of Montgomery County, raised there. She received her Bachelor of Science in Dietetics at the University of Maryland, College Park, and she's currently working on her Master's in Dietetics Administration. When she isn't discovering new whole grains to add to her plate, I love that. She fully embraces the millennial mom life at home and in Giant's Nutrition Made Easy blog. In her off time, she enjoys watching her succulents and her sons grow. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to you two. Thank you again for joining us. Looking forward to it tonight.
Thank you so much, Yolanda. And my last name is pronounced Win, so it's a lot easier than it seems. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that you can see the presentation. So bear with me for 1 second. Okay. Sorry about that. Technology is always very tricky, no matter how often you use it. All right, here we go. Let's try that again. Okay, I hope you all can see that. Please let me know if you have any difficulty. But thank you all for having me today. I am Tu Win. I am a nutritionist with Giant Food. And today our webinar is going to be all about, is our portion control out of control? So when we are talking about appropriate size portions, what we really want to be talking about is what we should be eating to promote good nutrition and move towards that healthier diet and lifestyle. And by doing so, the amount that we should be eating will just simply fall into place. However, sometimes it can get a little tricky or confusing, right? Or even tempting to eat more than what we should be eating. So today, not only are we going to discuss what we should be eating, we're also going to go through some tips and tricks on how to easily, and the key word here is easily, keep our portions in check without feeling deprived or like we're missing out on anything. So I do love for this to be as interactive as possible. So if you do have any questions or any comments along the way, please feel free to just shout out at me. I don't mind being interrupted at all. Or of course, you can use that chat box function feature. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so today's talk is going to be broken down into 3 parts. First, we're going to start off in my virtual office, and we're going to be discussing what makes up a healthy and nutritious diet. We're also going to talk about appropriate portion sizes and easy tips to control our portions. Then we're going to discuss great product options that you can add to your cart that keep portion size in mind and make keeping to an appropriate portion size easy. And then finally, we're going to review tips on how to tie everything together for success in the kitchen. So first off, what do we eat? So let's talk about that. So here is my plate. How many of you are familiar with my plate? Well, I'm sure that if you've had other giant nutritionists here, you've heard about my plate. Thank you, Kathy. Yes, so this is my plate, and my plate shows balanced eating. So by following my plate, we are also sticking to the correct portion size, meaning we're eating how much we should be eating of each food group. So if we're looking at my plate, at each meal, we want to follow it, meaning half of our plate should be fruits and vegetables. A quarter of our plate should be grains, and preferably whole grains. And we're going to be talking all about this. And then a quarter of our plate should be that lean protein. Now, I know you see that dairy, little circle of dairy up there at the corner of the plate. Dairy also fits into my plate, but dairy also has protein. So if you're drinking milk or you're eating yogurt, that will also count towards that protein section. So in general, we say make sure half of your plate are those fruits and vegetables, a quarter of your plate are grains, and a quarter of your plate is that lean protein. So building your meals to be balanced can really help you feel your best and get the most nutritional benefit because each food group provides different essential nutrients for us. So let's discuss each and relate it to portion size. Okay, so first we want to eat real food. So real food, what does that even mean? Well, we'll talk about that because all food is real, right? But when we say real food, we're saying most of the time. So real food means that you can imagine or you can see exactly where it's coming from. So think about those fruits and vegetables. You can see that carrot coming out of the ground. You can see that apple getting picked from the tree. So that's what we mean by real food. But as you can see, I'm saying most of the time. And I'm saying this because I'm a dietitian who believes that all foods fit. So when we deprive ourselves of certain foods, it makes those foods more desirable. And then when we're finally presented with the opportunity to eat those foods, we might go a little overboard. So I had a customer tell me that they were cutting out carbohydrates. They were cutting out bagels because bagels were their favorite food. And then their brother-in-law brought over a dozen bagels and they ate half a dozen in one sitting. So that's what can happen if we deprive ourselves of the things we love. So we just want to make sure all foods fit, but we are also being aware of that portion size, right? So if we focus on real food most of the time, we'll be able to meet our wellness goals. So like I said, real food means you can picture where it came from. So it's those fruits and vegetables, chicken, fish, rice. So we want to focus on these real foods and minimize our intake of processed foods. And this is for several reasons. Processed foods tend to be higher in sugar, fat, salt, and additives. Processed foods can also change our palate. So that means that you'll lose the ability to taste subtle said characteristics of food if you eat more processed foods. Processed foods can also increase our craving for sugar, fat, and salt. So portion control is important. And remember, this can easily be achieved by building a balanced plate at meals through My Plate. So first, let's discuss what occupies the majority of our plate, those fruits and vegetables, right? So let's talk about that first. Okay, so when we're looking at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, we want to aim for half of our plate to be produce, so those fruits and vegetables. The dietary guidelines suggest that Americans consume at least 2 cups of fruit per day and 2.5 cups of vegetables. But remember, you get more benefits with more servings. So vegetables and fruit are very low in calories. So really, you can eat as much as you want. Portion doesn't really matter in this category. Research also shows that most people rely on the size, or in other words, the volume of the food to tell us when we're full. So this means that we actually value the amount of food we're eating more than the calories. So if we eat the volume we want and not the calories, to help combat this, we can fill our plate with a lot of those low calorie foods. So those are our fruits and vegetables. And of course, we can eat more if we're still hungry, right? Of course, if blood sugar is of concern to you, such as diabetes, more vegetables than fruit is always better. We also want to fill our carts with a variety of colors. So we say eat the rainbow. And this is because each pigment provides an array of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. And these nutrients can lower disease risk. So again, use the rainbow as a guide. The deeper the colors, the higher the antioxidant content. So think about, like those dark leafy greens like spinach and kale and collard greens, and then those deep colors of strawberries and blueberries. So the deeper the color, the more antioxidants you're gonna get. And then lastly, use what works for you. So you get benefits from fresh, frozen, or canned fruits or vegetables. So a lot of times I hear people telling me that fresh is best, but all forms count. No matter if you're eating fresh, frozen, or canned fruits or vegetable, they all count. When we are looking at fresh fruits and vegetables, what's something that we want to look for to get the most nutrients? Does anyone know? Any guesses? So when it comes to our fresh fruits and vegetables, we want to look for them to be in season and local, because this means it doesn't have to take a long time to get to our grocery stores, and they're not going to lose all their nutrients. As soon as a fruit or vegetable gets picked off of its roots or the vine, it starts to lose those vitamins and minerals. So the shorter it takes for it to get from the farm to the grocery store to our table, the more nutrients it's going to have. Now, what about canned fruits or canned vegetables? What's something we want to be aware of? I'll tell you. So with our canned fruits, we want to make sure that they're in their own juice and not in those heavy concentrated syrups, because that's going to add more sugar into our diets. And then with our canned vegetables, we want to look for low sodium. Exactly, Geraldine. Thank you. We want to look for low sodium or no salt added versions. And if you can't find that, That's perfectly fine. You can always rinse it under the sink, and that's actually going to reduce the salt content by 40%. So that's another hack. And then when it comes to our frozen fruits and vegetables, we just want to look for those plain versions. So try not to get, like those frozen broccoli that's in cheese sauces and things like that, because that's going to add more salt and more fat into our diets. So if you're on a budget, frozen and canned is a great way to get those fruits and vegetables onto your plate. But whatever kind you choose, just know that you are getting the health benefits. Okay, so like I said before, in general, portion size isn't something that you need to be concerned about when it comes to produce. If we're filling half of our plate with fruits and vegetables, know that you are meeting your nutritional needs. However, like I said, if you do need to watch certain nutrients such as sugar from your fruit related to diabetes, you can always use your fist as a guide. Your fist is about 1 cup. So use this to measure your portion of fruits and vegetables. Okay, so next up are grains. So it's a common thought to restrict or limit grains. How many of you have heard somebody who's cutting out carbohydrates or somebody who says bread is bad for you? I know we always hear that. But looking at my plate, you can see that we need grains at every meal, right? And this is because carbohydrates are our body's #1 preferred source of energy. We need carbs to fuel us. The key, though, is the amount that we're eating and the type that we're eating. So if we're sticking to my plate, grains make up 1/4 of our plate. So this includes our typical grains like bread and rice and pasta, but it also includes our starchy vegetables. So corn, potatoes, and green peas. So if you're eating these starchy vegetables, you actually count it towards your grains and not towards your vegetable. So when you're choosing your grains, we want to opt for those whole grains. Whole grains are made up of 3 parts: the bran, which contains fiber and B vitamins, the germ, which contains B vitamins, protein, minerals, and good fats, and the endosperm. So these nutrients help to slow down digestion, they help to manage glucose levels, and they also help to keep you satisfied. So when grains are processed or refined, the bran and germ are removed. I see Faye says fruits in 100% fruit juice, not syrup. Awesome. Chia seeds, that's a great one also. Thank you for that. Okay, so when grains are processed or refined, the bran and the germ are removed. So we're only left with that energy component, but we're taking away all of those nutrients and all of that fiber. That's why we say to make at least half of your grains whole grains. And again, I'm a dietitian who thinks all foods fit. So if you absolutely hate brown rice and you will not switch over to brown rice, that is perfectly fine. You can stick to your white rice, but maybe just look for other opportunities in your day where you can choose whole grains. So maybe for your sandwich, choose whole wheat bread, or maybe for your snack, choose whole wheat crackers instead. So the way that you can find whole grains is by looking for the word whole in the ingredient list, or you can also look for that yellow whole grain stamp that's on the product. So again, my plate is the easiest way to control your portions. Sticking to that 1/4 of your plate for grains will make sure that you're not going out of control. But this slide shows common grain options and their appropriate serving size. But of course, you can actually just simply Google to see what the appropriate serving size is. So a serving of grains is 1/2 cup of cooked oatmeal, 1/3 cup of cooked rice, a 4-inch pancake, 1/4 of a large muffin, or 2 small cookies. And then lastly, we have protein. So my plate, like I said before, has that little dairy portion, that little satellite in the corner. But dairy is a source of protein, so it can fall into this category as well. So following our portion guide, my plate tells us that protein should be a quarter of our plate. And we actually want to include protein at every meal because protein is a part of every cell in our body. It's part of our muscles, our tissues, even our blood and organs, and it is required for growth and repair. Protein also keeps us feeling full, so it gives us that staying power. It helps to control those cravings and regulate blood sugar levels. So for this reason, if you're still feeling hungry after eating your first plate, you can always go back for seconds. You never had to feel like you're hungry. But we just want to make sure we're focusing on those fruits, vegetables, and protein, not the grains. So when it comes to protein, we want to choose lean protein options. So that would be chicken, turkey, lean meats like 90% lean ground beef, fish, eggs, and low-fat or fat-free dairy. But there's also many plant-based options for protein as well. So it's a pretty common misconception that plant-based isn't going to give you protein, but there are a lot of protein plant-based options out there, and that includes beans, legumes, nuts and seeds, tofu, and plant-based beverages, and those chia seeds like mentioned before. So again, remember a quarter of your plate lean protein, but you can also use your thumb to measure about a tablespoon. Your palm measures about 3 ounces, and this can be used to determine the appropriate portion size for, say, like a steak cut, or for cheese or a nut butter like peanut butter. Oops. And then we want to remember that drinks matter. So many times when we think of calories and portion control, we think of food, right? But our drinks and our beverages like juice and soda, energy drinks, sports drinks, and even alcohol, these are all sources of calories and something we can actually easily consume. And calories that come from drinks don't register with our brains. We call them liquid calories. And this is because they are super easy to consume, but it doesn't impact our appetite. So this means we're drinking a bunch of calories, but we don't feel full. So we're more likely to consume additional food, adding even more calories to our day. So what should we drink? Any guesses? So our bodies,
Water.
Water, awesome. Yes, so our bodies are made up of over 60% water. So if all of our organ systems need it, ideally we should be making water our beverage of choice. And really, it can be any type of water. So if you love seltzer water or sparkling water or infused water, anything, whatever works for you, it's all water, so that counts. You also want to remember that our fruits and vegetables are a source of water too. So, you know, they say drink about 8 ounces or 8 glasses of water a day. And then some people might struggle drinking that. But just remember that water can come from your fruits and vegetables. It can come from soups if you're eating soups. It can also come from cottage cheese, which has a lot of water. So just keep that in mind as well. But if you are getting a lot of calories from your beverages, to decrease your intake of calories from your beverages, maybe you can consider choosing a smaller size. You can dilute juice with water, or maybe limit yourself to 1 alcoholic beverage with the meal. And this will help to reduce those calories coming from our drinks. And then lastly, snacks. So snacks may be the hardest area when it comes to portion control, at least for me. And the good news here is that we want snacks. We actually want snacks. Make sure if you're not eating snacks to add snacks into your day. And this is because snacks help to curb hunger between meals and can prevent overeating at meal times. But again, there's a caveat, right? The key is to pair a protein with a fiber, and this will make a perfect and complete snack. These two together will help keeping us feel full and satisfied and keep those cravings at bay, and also help to regulate blood sugar levels. So you always want to pair a protein with a fiber. So you could do 2 tablespoons of nut butter or sunflower seed butter with a medium-sized fruit, and then you have that protein fiber combination. Or you can do 2 tablespoons of hummus with half a cup of raw veggies, and then you're going to get that protein fiber combination. So always looking for the 2 of those together. Okay, so now let's move into the aisles to find some great products that are out there that we can add to our carts. Oops, sorry, I keep clicking too fast. Okay, but first, before we look at those products, we want to make sure that we are reading labels. Do you all read labels? How many of us read labels when we're grocery shopping? Reading labels is a great way to keep portions in check. So Carol reads her labels, Valencia, Delaney, awesome. So reading labels is the first step, right? So when we're reading our labels, we want to start from the top of the label and work your way down. So the serving size will help you stick to your portion. Remember, if you eat more than the serving, just make sure you adjust the calories and everything else to reflect how much you are eating. Using the percent daily value on the right side is also a great way to get more of the nutrients that you want, like fiber and protein, and less of the nutrients that you don't want, like saturated fats, sodium, and sugar. So if you're looking at that percent daily value, anything at 20% or plus or minus, so if it's like 18, 19, 20, 21%, that is considered high. So we don't want, we don't want like our added sugars or our sodium or our saturated fat to be closer to that 20%. We want them closer to 5%. 5% means it's low. So we would want fiber to be closer to that 20%, right? But we would want fat and sugar and salt to be closer to that 5%. Okay, so I did see someone say in the chat box that most of the time they read nutrition labels, maybe not all the time, and that's exactly what I do too. But because I know that sometimes it takes a long time, especially if you're in a rush grocery shopping, to turn every single product over and read those nutrition facts labels. So another easy way to choose nutritious products is to use these icons. So the first one that you see there is called Guiding Stars, and this is a nutrition rating system. So it's best for me, best for us, right? Healthier food options are rewarded 1, 2, or 3 stars when they're higher in ingredients that we want, like vitamins, minerals, fiber, whole grains, and omega-3s. And they also get more stars if they're lower in ingredients that we don't want, like saturated fats, sodium, and added sugars. So the more stars that a product has, the healthier the choice. Then we had the impact rating system, which is powered by our friends at How Good. And this is a best for we rating system. And this is because it's not a nutrition rating system, but more about social and environmental impact. So products are rewarded 1, 2, or 3 leaves when they're environmentally friendly, minimally processed, and ethically produced. So the more leaves, the healthier the choice for we, the planet. So if you're shopping online, you can actually sort using these icons. You can put so that any product that you're looking up has at least 1 guiding star or something like that. Or if you're shopping in stores, you'll see these icons right on the price tag like you see in the picture right here. So again, 1, 2, or 3 stars means that it's a more nutritious product for us. So we don't have to read all those food labels if we don't have time. Okay, so starting off in the produce section. So not only do these offer great portion sizes, but they also offer convenience, which is something that I'm all about. So I don't know if you've seen these in the grocery stores, but these mini avocados are perfect because one avocado is the portion size, so you can eat the entire thing. We know that avocados have those great heart-healthy fats, but if you are looking or watching your calories, we also know that avocados can be high in calories too, right? So these mini avocados are the perfect portion size for you to eat the entire thing. And then we have pre-cut slices of apples. So this is really about convenience, right? So say, I know for my kids, if I'm packing their lunch, I can throw in some of these packs, but I'll also eat them myself if I'm in a rush. And then if you just pair it with some peanut butter, that makes a perfect snack, right? And then these Del Monte fruit cups. Again, it's all about convenience. These ones are in their own fruit juice, so it's not going to be high in those added sugars.
So I think Valencia may have a question.
Oh, yes, Valencia.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't have a question. I was just agreeing.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
That's perfect. I love agreement. All right, so moving on to our grains. So the first one that I have here are, well, one thing that I need to tell you all is that I'm all about convenience. So making everything fast, because I feel like if there's a lot of barriers to eating healthy, then that's when we kind of don't really have time or we don't want to eat healthy, right? So all of these are super convenient ways to eat in the portion control and eat balanced. So that first one is brown rice, or I just chose this one, but there's many options out there. And this one you can just pop in the microwave for a minute and you have a whole grain right on your plate. So you can eat it as a side, you can put it in your salad to make it into a grain bowl. And they have lots of different whole grain options. So if you don't know if you like brown rice, or if you don't know if you like quinoa, or you're not sure how to cook it, these make some great convenient ways that you just pop it in the microwave and you don't need to worry about cooking it or buying a whole big container of it and then wasting it if you don't like it. Then we have the sweet potato that comes in this like wrap that you just pop in the microwave and then it cooks like that. So potatoes are kind of really, it takes kind of long to cook. So this is a great fast way to get, again, that whole grain onto your plate. And then I'm not sure if you've seen these in the grocery stores, but it's kind of like if you think of a cup of noodle, but a rice version. Well, this is quinoa, but it comes with like all of the sauce and all of the toppings. And again, you just pop it in the microwave. So if you are having a busy day and you need a quick lunch, this will give it to you and you're getting those whole grains in there as well. And as you can see, it gets 1 guiding star. And then protein. So you thought canned tuna was simple. Try tuna pouches. You don't even need a can opener for this. All you do is you just tear open the pouch and you have a convenient source of lean protein right there. Crunchsters that you see on the right side is a sprouted protein snack. Oh, I see Yolanda agreeing with that tuna pouch. They're awesome. So Crunchsters is a sprouted protein snack. They have lots of different flavors, but my favorite is the sea salt right here. So if you're craving a crunchy, a little bit salty kind of snack, these are great. You can eat them as is, or you can add them to your salads or to your grain bowls for a boost of protein. And then I also have freezer cod portions here, or there's many, like there's salmon portions also, but I think a lot of times people forget about about the freezer section when it comes to seafood. And this can actually be cheaper on your wallet. And again, they come in these portion sizes, so you know exactly how much you're eating in one sitting. And then that last category, the snacks, the one that makes it the hardest, right? So for those of you with a sweet tooth or a savory tooth, there is no need to restrict. Here are some of the products that the nutritionists on our team love. So first, we have Solero Frozen Pops. So this is a line of frozen crushed fruit bars and pops, and it's specially crafted with real premium fruit that's sourced at the peak of ripeness. So again, it's going to have all those nutrients still intact. Each bar or pop ranges between 45 to 120 calories. So again, you can have a pre-portioned snack right there. The cherry, the lime, raspberry, and tangerine are only about 50 calories per pop. So that makes it awesome and easy. Geraldine says Skinny Pop. Yes, Skinny Pop is also a great option. The reason why I have Nature's Promise here is because it is a giant brand. But also I love this one because it's just lightly salted. So you don't taste all of that salt. It's lightly salted, so you still get a little bit of flavor, but it's still super nutritious for you. And one thing that I do love doing with this popcorn is that I like to add it to homemade trail mix. So I'll mix it in with some almonds, some dried fruit, and maybe a little bit of mini chocolate chips. And then you have your own trail mix. And then that popcorn, it counts as a whole grain. And then you have your nuts, which are that protein. So you have that fiber protein combination. So it makes a perfect snack. In the corner over there, we have Enlightened ice cream bars. So they have traditional, they also have dairy-free. Each one is about 70 to 150 calories per bar. And this is from the same company that makes Halo Top ice cream. So if you tried Halo Top and you love it, then most likely you'll also love these frozen bars as well. Has anybody tried mushroom jerky before? So you can see at that top corner, no. So at that top corner, we have mushroom jerky. They come in lots of different flavors. I will say, Yolanda says, I will say that it doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't taste like real beef jerky, if that's what you're looking for. But it does have a, it doesn't taste like real jerky, but it is kind of like a snack on its own. So it's made of mushroom and it has like that smoky flavor. So again, it's a great way to get more of those vegetables onto our plate. But the great thing about this company, Eat the Change, is that they source those mushrooms from what would have been thrown away. So they cut down on food waste and then they repurpose those mushrooms into this mushroom jerky. So they have a great story behind their company. So if you haven't tried it before, give it a try, see if you like it. And yes, you can find that in like usually in like the natural organic section of the grocery store. And then I do have Enjoy Life crunchy mini cookies here. And I love this because they come in like the pre-portioned packs. And they're like mini cookies. So you feel, again, like that volume. You feel like you're eating a lot because they're mini. And then by the end of the package, you feel satisfied. So give that a try. I also love this brand because it is free from the top 8 allergens. So it's a great brand for those who have food allergies. Okay, so now that we know what we should eat and how much, and we also know some great options that we can add to our carts, let's tie everything that we've learned together and apply it to our everyday lives. Okay, so another key factor in keeping our portions in control is to be mindful when we are eating. Have you all heard of the term mindful eating before? It's getting pretty trendy, pretty popular. There's a lot of buzz around that phrase. But mindful eating really means that we are being 100% present in our eating experience. So mindfulness is comprised of both external and internal factors. So let's first talk a little about those external factors. So the first thing is that we want to see our food. So we are visual eaters, and we know that we're done eating when our plate is empty. So, instead of eating directly out of the package or the box, put it in a dish and then put the box away. So when you're done with your dish, you know you're done. If you are at a party, keep those empty wine bottles on the table and use fresh glasses without clearing the old glasses. And then that way you can actually visually see how much you're drinking. Next, tablescape for success. So here is where the shape and the size of your plates, glasses, and serving utensils matter. So you want to stock your home with those tall, skinny glasses and smaller plates. Because if you think about half a cup of mashed potatoes, it's going to look like a lot on that 8-inch plate rather than that 12-inch plate. So if you had those big 12-inch plates and you're putting half a cup of mashed potatoes, you might feel a little bit disappointed in that portion size, or you might think that you want to go back for more. But if you put it on a smaller plate, it's going to look like a lot of food. And then this kind of helps your brain feel more satisfied with the portion size. So like I said, we value the volume, not the calories, right? So again, to boost that volume and stay in control of your calories, add more low-calorie foods like fruits and vegetables to your plate. Next, don't make it easy. So think about that candy dish that's on the counter, or maybe that plate of cookies. When they're just sitting there, there's more chance of us grabbing a piece or two when we aren't even hungry, right? I notice this a lot with my husband. If I'm making cookies and I leave the plate on the kitchen island, he's going to keep on going and getting more cookies even though he's not hungry. But once I put it in the pantry, he forgets about it and he's not eating it. So out of sight, out of mind. In sight, in mind, right? So you'll typically also eat the first thing that you see in the cupboard or the refrigerator. So think about that when you're unpacking your groceries and stocking your shelves. Put, those fruits and vegetables more at eye level, and then you'll be more likely to eat those instead. Also, like we said before, buying those pre-portioned snacks can help. And then lastly, unplug. So try not to eat in front of the TV, or maybe while you're driving, or while you're working in front of your computer, because you're more likely to eat without paying attention. Has this ever happened to anyone? I know I'm pretty guilty of it. I call it being a Patrick. So there's an episode of SpongeBob where Patrick, the starfish, he gobbles his entire popsicle, and then he completely forgets, and he's like, who ate my popsicle? So that's what mindless eating is. So we don't want to be a Patrick. We want to take a break from our lunch, step away from the computer, and really embrace that whole entire eating experience. Pay attention to what you're eating. So I said that there's those external factors, but there's also those internal factors. So those internal factors are the ones that we need to pay attention to, aka listen to your body. So the first thing is to slow down your eating pace. Engage with what you're eating, enjoy the eating experience, and give your body time to determine if it's full. Has anyone heard the phrase, the banquet is in the first bite? So I love this phrase because what it means is that there is no other bite that will taste as good as that first bite. And every subsequent bite will progressively diminish in satisfaction. So you may be getting more of the calories, but not necessarily more pleasure. So savor those first few bites and maybe try stopping sooner than you otherwise might. Another tip is to stop eating if you don't like something. Now, this may sound super simple, But those who haven't mastered mindful eating, and I know I'm guilty of this sometimes, it might be harder than it sounds. So it might be that maybe you bought it so you don't want to waste it and throw it away, so you keep on eating it. Or maybe you don't want to offend someone who offered something to you. Or maybe you just keep eating it for no reason. But to be a mindful eater, we want to learn to stop eating something if it doesn't bring us pleasure. And then lastly, use your senses. So savor the entire experience. So this includes the appearance, the aroma, the texture, the flavors, and the sounds. And so lastly, you want to have a plan. So you've probably heard of meal planning. When you've heard of the word meal planning, I know a lot of times customers come to me thinking I will make a calendar, a schedule of what exactly they can eat. And this is not the meal planning that we're talking about, because this is very rigid. It's not sustainable. So to be the most successful at home and in your kitchen, it's important to have a plan with your meals. The more prepared we are, the better we can stick to our goals. So meal planning doesn't have to be difficult at all. It's literally planning your meals and snacks ahead of time. I know for me, if I don't meal plan, I meal plan, and then for some reason, Saturday and Sunday usually have little question marks on them. And what happens when Saturday and Sunday comes? I didn't prepare for it, and then I'm more likely to go out and eat, right? So we want to make sure we're planning our meals and snacks ahead of time, because this is really going to help you meet your wellness goals. And so if you are looking for more information on meal planning, we do have classes on that, so be sure to register for that. And then really keeping our portions in check means eating well. So when you start planning to eat well, you're likely also going to be looking for inspiration. So some of the nutritionists' favorite resources for meal planning recipes include giantfood.com/savory. So this is our savory magazine. But the great thing about being online is that you can sort it by guiding stars. So you can choose recipes that have at least one guiding star, and you know it's a better for you recipe. Cookinglight.com has some great recipes. Pinterest, of course, our Nutrition Made Easy blogs, and there's some free apps that are out there that can help you with meal planning. So some of our favorites include Mealime and Dinner Time. And then just a quick little plug for our pharmacy, so you can fill your prescriptions while you shop. The Higgy machine is also open, so that's that blood pressure monitor thing. So making sure you know your numbers is a great way to keep track of your health, so be sure to check that out. And then lastly, before I leave you all today, these are some ways that you can connect with our team. So if you go to giantfood.com/nutrition, you can find all of us nutritionists. You can find more classes and our blog. If you're on Facebook, make sure you join our Healthy Living by Giant Facebook group. It's a go-to spot for day-to-day inspiration and fun. And then if you're a podcast listener, make sure you check out our podcast. It's called Nutrition Made Easy. We have so many different nutrition episodes that are great for, when you're going on a walk or if you're driving in the car. And these are, we talk about really everything here. So again, that is how you can connect with us. And that wraps up our webinar on portion control. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I know we all have super busy schedules, so I'm so appreciative that you all had me here to talk with you today. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, too. We appreciate it. And thank you all for joining us and engaging with us. But just before we let you go for the evening, I just want to share a few announcements. So remember, guys, we want your feedback. This is how we can improve upon our programs. Any topics you would like to hear, we'd love to hear those as well. So we want you to be sure to complete the survey in 24 hours from the time that you receive it. And then you'll be entered into a drawing for a $25 gift card. Also, The program recording is available upon request, and you can email us at wellness@pgparks.com. Excuse me, she's done well. Wellness@pgparks.com to get that recording. And then our next nutrition workshop is on October the 12th from 6 to 7.
Thank you for joining us for the virtual nutrition workshop. For more videos to help you make healthier choices, visit the Department of Parks and Recreation's online resource center at pgparks.com or the Health and Wellness Virtual Library at wellness.pgparks.com. Until next time, be healthy, be well.